Hello and welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. So today we'll be talking about sort of the estimates for running the Battle Damage Studios alongside just maintaining myself off YouTube. As you all know, by now I have lost my job, so I'll be going to YouTube full time, and here's some estimations that we've sort of done on the team to sort of figure out where we stand as we move into next month, because next month that all sort of finally goes into effect along with some new streaming schedules and stuff like that. So I figured I'd run by these estimations by you guys so you kind of have a picture of the scene of what we're looking at. So at the very top you'll notice it says status quo. Status quo is basically how things more or less were operated back when I had a job and things like that. So you can kind of see how much it takes to run the studio as well as just maintain and juggle everything. So you can see that at the top number, that's how much we need per month. So in order to maintain that, again, that's why we did various estimations, because I imagine things will fluctuate and things will be a little hectic in the initial stages. We'll have to see where we land, but we have a week goal as well, so that's how much we need per week, $1,450.15. You really start to see how expensive it was to run everything once you start putting numbers to it. And the day goal, that would be how much we'd need to earn per day per stream in order to make that number. Now, that doesn't factor in for one new thing, which is these new projections here. It also doesn't or it does factor in for the 30% cut that Susan takes. It didn't really factor in for taxes, but we got the 30% cut in there of what YouTube takes from our revenue. So that has been factored in. Then there's the reduced goal, which is a different amount there, and you can sort of see those numbers, but I'll let you read those for yourself. But to tell you a little bit about status quo, reduced, and bare minimum, what does that actually mean in terms of how the studio functions and things like that? Status quo means that we are able to maintain operations as they are right now, more or less. We can keep everyone working a relatively full-time, the art team. We still, again, won't be able to afford the programmers and things like that. They'll be working on spare dime, but we'll still have relatively good production speed of all other assets, which is good. That would be the preferred outcome. Reduced is less than favorable and optimal. Things will be slower, but it won't be the end of the world. We'll be, obviously taking a dip there in terms of production speed, but no one loses their job yet. But it's definitely not pretty. Bare minimum is the absolute bare minimum that we can go in the sense of keeping the core team members on. Again, the fluctuation in numbers is only like by $30 increments, but from the top to bottom it's about 60 or so. And once we reach the bare minimum, that's when we unfortunately have to shed all non-essential team members, which is tragic because they're all good folk, but we just simply won't be able to afford them, and we attempt to do the absolute life support of maintaining the studio, which means keeping the core team members, because the biggest concern we have here as an indie studio and as a studio as a whole is that the minute you lose somebody in the indie industry or just in just a project in general, you guys kind of know this, I assume, once somebody's gone, they're gone, and the odds of you getting them back shrink basically very quickly. So if we lose core team members, if we have to go below bare minimum, like that's really critical in terms of the damage that does. For instance, losing like the lead artist, or losing the lead composer, or things like that, or the only composer, losing the lead animator, any core team members like that, like people like that cannot be replaced, because if they are, the entirety of all the artwork needs to be replaced again. Because it'll have to match a different style and aesthetic. That means, thousands upon thousands, I don't even want to think about the actual numbers, tens of thousands of dollars of assets are completely lost to the wind, because they'd have to be redone again in a new style, which would be horrendous. Now, a lot of the heavy lifting would be done because the concept art phase of those pieces would be done, but they would have to again be remade to match a new aesthetic, which would be, in my opinion, fatal to go below that line, which is the point in which things get bad. Now, there are plans within plans if bare minimum isn't even reached. I will say that much. Where let's say we dip below, because things are going to fluctuate. We're relying on the generosity of others here, and it's honestly incredible that people have been so generous to help us along with this journey, and I don't expect people to do that, but you have a right to know the situation, because well, you guys are contributing to this project, and I think you guys need to know where we stand in terms of things like that. We'll be a lot more open about what we're actually working on from starting the next month. We do have 2 months of leeway, by the way, of paychecks that are still incoming. So about 3 to 4 to 5 months maximum of status quo operations can be maintained as is. That's not even factoring in any adjustments or people that decide to start helping, or people that stop, which is something I do want to talk about as well. So now you'll notice the thing below that we have income from memberships. Now the number on the left was the number that was normal beforehand. So YouTube members was $158, Patreon was $213, and subscriber was $215. Again, oh my goodness, like, it's incredible, the generosity, and it has helped so much in our project and in my in everything, really. And that the total income. Now the new projections is something I just ran now, based on about the amount of surplus and surge of support we've been getting. The one problem I'm going to say with the new projection numbers immediately is people are being extremely generous, and I have, thank you so much. Like, I am at a loss of words of what to really say beyond just simply thank you. I owe you guys everything. Like, it is incredible the amount of support we've gotten, but I don't believe that those numbers, in my opinion, are sustainable, based on the fact that, I'll be honest, some people are giving, in the 100 margins, which is like $100, or it seems to be the like a couple of people, very generous, by the way, and thank you again. But to ask that for months, that would be absurd, absolutely outrageous to even think that. So I don't think that that's sustainable, but that buys us time. So it all makes an impact. So thank you again, because development-wise, there's a couple things that are coming, but we'll talk about that in a second, because I don't want to switch off topic just yet. So that's just factoring all those in there, and that's just mostly what we are at now. So the new projections are what we're at now. Those are actually steadily increasing every day, it seems. So that's great, and that'll buy us time as it, eventually will push to 4 to 5 months to maybe 5 to 6 months, of being able to operate at status quo. Basically buying as much time as humanly possible. And then YouTube revenues, this is the fluctuation here of this year. I've only factored in 2022. None of the previous years, because, economically things are going up and down, and, not to get political, but, the situation in the world economically is not good. Simply put, we are looking at really bad things in terms of the economic situation. So as things deteriorate, people's generosity wavers, because, well, they need to worry about themselves, and they have every right to, especially in times like this. Like, the free spending money shrivels up, I understand. But this is what our YouTube revenue fluctuates between every month. The lowest this year we've around had about 1,500, I believe, for just 2022, and at maximum 1,900. That isn't factoring in this month, mostly because the numbers are all over the place because of the announcement of becoming jobless. I can't actually figure out what the actual numbers are at the moment. It's just too all over the last few days. Streamlabs revenue, and then that's basically, people who donate through Streamlabs. So $361 to $1,100, which is, oh my goodness, like, it's insane. Like, this is more than enough to sustain myself off of. So it's, that's that, but that's not good enough, right? It's not about sustaining me. It's about keeping the bread flowing for the team members who desperately need it, and making sure that they have, their money, or the money they need, more or less. So that's what this is all about: maintaining Battle Damage Studios and the indie project that we're working on, as well as every other IP project. Anything else at this point has been shuttered temporarily, or we'll just say the word postponed indefinitely, until the situation stabilizes, or something can be figured out. But only Battle Damage Studios projects are operational. So BTR is on hold indefinitely because I just do not have the resources to spare anymore. Bonus. This is just some bonus information. You can just read that. But more or less, this is me factoring in like the lowest month. You know, the lowest month, if we combine all the lowest, we will not make the bare minimum from all the lowest gains this year. If we combine the maximum, we will at least be making only the bare minimum, but the new factoring actually reaches reduced, which is actually a much preferred thing. So who knows? We'll obviously have to see how things stabilize, and the best means that we basically be very short of the status quo, which would be awesome, but again, you know, you're dealt the cards you're given, so you need to do what you got to do to make ends meet, and we'll keep chugging away. As long as I have the resources to do so, I will not waver in production, nor will I waver in working on the project. There are, again, plans to do things if this doesn't happen. For instance, like we can fall below the bare minimum once, maybe even twice. But that's when people are going to start going hungry and things are going to get bad. And I can't ask people to stick around because that would be, well, it'd be not the right thing to do, because you can't have somebody waiting around for money that just isn't going to arrive. It's just not right. And that's why I've been pretty honest with the team, because I care about them. I consider them family, and you know, I don't want them to be shackled to something that might drag them down, because they're good folk, and I'll do everything in my power to boost them up, even if the ship is, so to speak, sprung too many leaks. But beyond that, things aren't looking abysmal at the moment. We have a good few months to get as much progress as possible. There is a contingency plan C in development. The C plan is actually, I'm not going to say it, mostly because I need to iron it out, but if things fall through, you'll have nothing to worry about for a couple years at least. Because the C plan actually opens new doors, and those doors were opened by a very good friend. But I'm not gonna commit to, or put pressure on that. So that's something to be revealed once that's more concrete. As soon as I have that ironed out, I will reveal that once I have further information on that. But for now, the C plan is in waiting. We are on B plan, which is this essentially is going full-time YouTube. Things will be changing on the channel starting next month. I will be streaming double the normal amount for 2 stream sessions per day. And that's with the goal of trying to reach those day goals. I will set up a counter so that you guys can keep tabs on that. But I don't expect people to do anything, and you're not expected to. Like, don't feel pressured. Times are tough. Budget for yourself. I don't want people to feel bad. I was worried, and I still, worry that people are panicking about, myself. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. But this is just, if we want to make this game, if we want to do these things, if we want to make this work, these are the numbers that need to be more or less met. And that means that it's on me to pull my weight and do everything in my power to make that possible. So I will be focusing my efforts on producing better quality content, especially now that I'll be doing that. We'll be maintaining the streams, but there's edited video stuff and lore stuff and based in the IP and the works now that I'll have more time. And that's just to try to generate interest in the IP. There's a ton of wings of things that are being pushed. There's the tabletop aspect, which again, developmental wise, is minuscule in terms of operational cost. It's like $160 actually per mini to get made, and we plan on charging about $3. It's actually going to be a net loss in the initial stages, mostly because it's an attempt at community building, because we need to build an IP, we need to build trust with the community, and it means doing everything you can to earn that trust. You can't expect that from people, and to expect that would be absurd. It must be earned and it must be respected. So This is one of the concept arts of the first cohorts that we're working on, which once completed will be available on our website. Website has finally more or less been starting to put together. The ISP or whatever that was holding on to the domain was dragging their heels, which was throwing them huge wrenches into all my plans. But we finally had the ISP in the transferring stage, so it's actually being transferred, and the website will be constructed, and then we'll be able to start selling the STLs to generate partial kickback, and basically the goal is to get the miniatures basically operating at a well, to just be operating at cost is the actual end goal of that. The video game is, again, the farthest one out, which is the most tragic. We are still shooting for the combat prototype this summer. There's a lot of work to be done. I have a lot of work to do. And after that, there is the side things I'm working on. We have our composer working on extra music tracks, which will be released publicly. We will have some lore stuff that I'm working on the side that isn't in the video game timeline, because I do not want to spoil. So I've started expanding a lot of the back lore a lot and working and writing lots on that. It's been quite heavy. But very soon I will have things for you, and hopefully the next month, so we'll start seeing that immediately start popping up, because we were so close. We were so close to finally getting like some real footing, and then well, you know how it is. couldn't be easy, could it? That wouldn't be fun. We need a challenge, right? So yeah, that's more or less kind of the whole situation about where things stand. Things are looking kind of on the rough side, but such is life, right? We'll get through it. We'll chin up. Again, anybody who supports us, I appreciate that. If you have supported us or have donated, be sure to take pictures of your receipts, because I want to honor those. I've talked with the team, as I mentioned before, and if you present those, I will add you to the Chamber of Squeakrits in the Discord server. You can send them to me or a moderator to get your ranks, and you should do that because, for instance, a lot of people who have supported us will be getting the STLs for these without having to pay for them, because the team also believes that people who have supported us and put so much effort into it and helped us along deserve to be recognized, not only recognized but given their just dues, so to speak. So free stuff, basically, goodies and things like that, and early access to things. With the benefit of more time opening up next month, I will be working a lot more on the game, even with the double streams, because I'll actually end up having like a net gain of 6 more hours. So I will start making more progress on the Terrestrial War tabletop game. That is going to be a huge push for me, as well as, design docs, which you can't see, but, that's for the team. And then more lore and things like that, which could be actually seen as I expand things like the Battle of Broken Storms, the War of the Father, and I'm also working on another new lore thingy. Basically, just getting all the lore, organized, which is the War of the 5 Emperors, which is the big turning point, and you can see a lot of that, because one of the things that our IP has is it has depth that not many have. So, as you can see, we're working on the youngest of the 5 emperors, technically empress, self-proclaimed, and we will get them wrapped up soon. I will have character card experimentation done with these characters. I do have a voice actress lined up, so hopefully that all stays, hunky-dory, and the first like lore card thing should be hopefully next month. And hopefully relatively early into it, because I am planning to start production of these things a lot faster. But yeah, I'm excited. Nervous. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm nervous. Like how it is. Just life. Throwing you a curveball, so to speak. But I think we can pull through. To be honest with you guys, like it just put my back into it. Our team is incredible. Everybody on the team is amazing. They do an excellent job. I'm absolutely honored and privileged to work with these fine people, these fine men and women, and I actually have no doubt that that we'll find our footing, so to speak. We just have to work for it, as is everything, right? So yeah, that kind of wraps up everything. Thank you again for all your support. If you have questions or, things you'd like to ask for further elaboration, just leave a comment on this video, and I will get back to you on this one, because I understand I probably didn't catch everything because there's probably loads of questions, but feel free to ask in the comments down below. We will keep you guys appraised to progress and things like that on a weekly basis. I want to start next month. I'll try to see if I can this month. This last few days, I'm still, still working technically because I've been paid to work this month. So I got to put in the back, the back, so to speak, and the backbone or whatever. Oh God, I have a hard time with words today. And put in the effort to leave that lasting impression that I'm a hard-working lad. You know what I mean? Either way, thank you all for your very kind support. All the kind messages you guys have sent me, whether you guys support us through monetary means, and if you can't, no big deal. I appreciate the kind sentiments you guys have said, because it's good to hear. It actually helps a lot, and helps me know that people actually do care, that I'm not just some crazy buffoon going like, yeah, so they're working on this thing, right? And talking to the wind. So I appreciate it all. I appreciate everything you guys have done. And if you need to get a hold of me via DMs and Discord, just shoot me a DM. If I've missed you, that's because things are absolutely hell right now in terms of just everything flooding in my doorstep. But do not be shy. Do not feel bad. Do not apologize for contacting me. I hate it when people do that. Don't apologize. There's no need to be sorry. I owe you guys everything. And, just poke at me if you need something. I'll try to do my best to get back to you, but sometimes some people just slip through the cracks and you just fall to the bottom because, you get buried in DMs. Like, I do have to prioritize team members. Anytime I see a team member DM, I open that like first thing, because I need to make sure that the workflow is going as smoothly as possible, because we need to make progress, especially now more than ever. But as I've said before, if I don't get back to you, don't be shy. Don't worry. It's not that I'm ignoring you. Just poke at me again. It just happens sometimes. I had it the other day where somebody slipped through the cracks. I felt really, really, really bad about it. Don't worry. My DMs are open, both on Twitter and Discord, though I recommend Discord over Twitter. And I will be reading all the comments on, well, I already read the comments on everything, but it's just I don't normally have time to respond. But I'll be responding to any comments or questions on this particular video and putting effort on this one, because I want to make sure that if I missed anything, that I get it fully explained. Either way, thank you guys for your support. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the stream later today. Have a good day.